On this episode of Shad Speaks, we're here to ask him some questions on his experience on the show. Hey, Shad.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's Sean King of Opulence Imports LLC, and I was blessed to be on Arletta Mooley's Pop the Balloon experience.
So, Shad, how would you describe your experience on the Pop the Balloon episode?
I'd say it was a new experience for me, being that I've never been into public speaking or being on like social media, and exposure in terms of like cameras, and it was just a whole new experience for me. I've never done anything like that. It was nerve wracking because I was very nervous, but it was an overall good experience.
All right, Shad. So, I want you to explain a little bit more about the nervousness part that you were just talking about.
Okay, so there's no prep, there's no rehearsal, there's no we're gonna walk through this. It's kind of just you just put out there, and so for me walking out, I'm looking at 8, 9 women. They're all looking at me with balloons in their hands, and I'm looking at multiple cameras, bright lighting, and then I have to locate Arlette, get the mic from her, and speak up, you know, eye contact. It's a lot. It's kind of overwhelming, like all these things happening just simultaneously. So, I was definitely nervous, yes.
So, seeing that you just explained about the nerves, were the nerves the reason for the smacking while speaking?
All right, so I got a lot of flack in the comments, but I mean, it was like 10% flack, 90% love. But the 10% were, like people asking about why am I smacking? Someone said it sounded like I had a microphone under my tongue. Just I found it comical, because I'm a person I like to laugh at myself. So, things that people say about me, I already made fun of myself already before they could even make fun of me. So, I found that very funny in the comments. Um, I would say so. Here's the reason for the smacking now. I actually suffered from dehydration 2 days prior uh, to landing in Arizona, and I was still kind of dehydrated the night before. I tried to take some supplements to kind of help me out, but it didn't work, and I ended up actually not being able to sleep the night before shooting. So I maybe got like 2 hours of sleep, plus I was dehydrated, and my mouth was very dry at the time, mixed in with nerves. So that was the reason why you would hear that smack because it's dry. So yeah, that explains the smacking.
Why did you pause so frequently before asking a question and answering the questions?
Well, my reason for the pausing was I didn't plan like write down a list of questions. I just wanted to be organic because I kind of wanted to treat it as like a real dating scenario where if I go to meet a girl for dinner, I'm not going with questions already thought of. It's kind of more authentic, more intimate to just kind of let the questions come to me as the conversation progresses. Uh, I would say the long pauses were mainly because I wanted to have like very good questions, to kind of see the women's character, to get a feel for things they like to do for fun, so we could find like a common ground that we could relate on. Uh, so I was basically just putting a lot of thought into my questions, and at the same time, I have a responsibility when the camera's on my in my face, like to not disrespect anyone on the pop the balloon scene. Like none of the women. I tried my best not to disrespect anyone or present myself in a light that would embarrass my family, my friends. I just try to keep it very respectful. So I didn't want to misspeak or say anything that I shouldn't say, or anything that would come off as disrespectful or belittling to women or disrespectful to women, because that's not how I was raised.
So this question is a hot topic in the comments, and we all want to know why the hesitation about Waverly's celibacy question.
Oh man, yeah, y'all, you guys came with some good questions. I'm not gonna lie. This is okay. So the celibacy question, the hesitation and the pause was not deceitfulness. It was more so discomfort that I was experiencing because being that I've never been on a platform of this magnitude, and I felt that that question was very intimate and a private, a question you would ask in private to someone who you would go on a date, 2, 3 dates, and you kind of already know that you want to be with this person. You see a future with this person in terms of dating. I didn't think it was an appropriate question for someone you just met 2 minutes ago on a speed dating show. I felt that it was very intrusive of a question, and you know, I just didn't like the question, which is my discomfort, and I was going through my head like just thinking, should I really answer this? Like, how would it look if I just dismiss this question? And yeah, so I don't have a problem with celibacy. I never lied about being celibate in a relationship. No one's gonna like spank me or nothing like that. Like my parents not gonna beat me for you know answering it truthfully. So I have no reason to lie. Uh, it was just so discomfort and wrong place, wrong time. There's a time and place for everything. You know, I felt like she was like trying to be nice and nasty at the same time with that question, to be honest. And I was I just didn't like that question at all, not in that setting. But yeah, so I was very truthful about the celibacy, and I was just going back and forth in my head, like, should I really answer this question? Because why is she asking me this?
So to wrap this up, we have one last question. How did you feel about Nia asking you, would you cry in front of a woman?
Okay, so I didn't like that question either, to be honest. It was kind of like I was thrown out there, and it's like this pressure to answer it, So I basically just answered it to the best of my ability. But, I was basically asking questions about their passions, things they enjoy doing. What is a passion of yours? And I asked, I think, another lighthearted question like, are you a romantic person? And if so, what would be your ideal romantic date? So in my mind, I'm thinking she's gonna ask me something along that lines, like to kind of get a feel for me. But the question about crying in front of a woman came from left field because and then the double down after I answered the question was diabolical. It's mainly like I don't see in any other culture where women like require their men to cry in front of them, except our culture. Like and I feel like it's very emasculating to ask a man that on camera in front of 2 million people. Would he cry? And it's basically I came out with a very masculine frame from the way I carried myself, the way I dress, my conduct. My shoulders were broad, my feet were planted, my feet were spread apart wide, my shoulders were down. I was very confident, even though I was nervous. And I felt like, that degree of masculinity, a lot of women are not used to that energy that I brought to that room that day. And so, I feel like it's a defense mechanism to kind of like, okay, he has masculine frame. Now, let me ask him a question that will compromise that masculinity, and so I respect Nia. I have nothing bad to say about her. I just did not like the question. I believe the question was very distasteful in that setting. You know, what happens between you and your woman, especially when you're talking about emotions, that should be a private matter. That shouldn't be a question or a matter brought up in front of 2 million people for them to scrutinize, and so I didn't feel that that was a very protecting question for a man of my stature coming from a woman that looks like me. That's it.
All right, Shad, we had a very interesting Q&A session right now, and I want you to let the people know what other projects and stuff you have coming up. What should we be looking out for you for?
Well, as you know, I'm the owner of Opulence Imports LLC in South Florida, where we specialize in performance vehicle parts for JDM vehicles, especially, but we also deal with European as well, specializing in also the S2000. And so I'll be looking to expand that business, open more locations in South Florida. And I also have a beard care line that I'm launching very soon. For gentlemen who have beards or want to grow a beard, you know, uh, I'm looking forward to that. And also, I'll be starting a YouTube channel for men's fashion, which I'll be a men's fashion influencer, basically just teaching men how to dress, tailored suits, things of that nature, how to conduct yourself as a high value man. And I'm also a dancer. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm also a dance choreographer. I've worked with such acts as Conscience, Cranium, just to name a few names. And I'll be expanding on that, dance career as well in terms of Afrobeats, Amapiano, and dancehall. And, a few other things. Oh, I'd also like to say that I'll be honored if Arlette and BM would bring me back on another episode of Pop the Balloon. That way I could, you know, find my way, find that love of my life as well. And that's it. This is Shad King. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Opulence Imports LLC. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.